Hello, everyone. GM. Welcome back to another episode of Overpriced JPEGs and our favorite /only weekly recurring segment, not weekly, bi-monthly recurring segment, Moment of Zeneca.
Every now and then, yeah.
With Zeneca33. Hello. We are going to dive into everything that's happening in the market today, the macro updates, Moonbirds, and I think there are so many derivative thoughts that have been sparked as a result of Moonbirds and what we saw happen there.
Yep.
So we'll deep dive into that.
Wild.
Alien Friends, VeeFriends, Yuga Labs, land sale. I mean, there's lots to dive into, but before we get to any of it, we need to hear a word from our wonderful sponsors.
Living a bankless life requires taking control over your own private keys. And that's why so many in the Bankless Nation already have their Ledger hardware wallet. And brand new to the Ledger lineup of hardware wallets is the Ledger Nano S Plus, a huge upgrade to the world's most popular hardware wallet. With more memory and a larger screen, the Nano S Plus makes it easy to navigate and verify your transactions. And the paired Ledger Live desktop app gives you increased transparency as to what is about to happen with your NFT. What you see is what you sign. The Nano S Plus gives you the smoothest possible user experience while you're doing all of your crypto things. So go to the Ledger website to check out the features of the new Ledger Nano S Plus and join the waitlist to get yours. And don't forget about the Crypto Life card, also powered by Ledger. The CL card is a crypto debit card that hooks right into the Ledger Live app, right next to all the DeFi apps and services that you're already used to doing, like swapping tokens and staking. So if you don't have a Ledger hardware wallet, go to ledger.com, grab a Ledger, and take control over your crypto. It's increasingly obvious that everything will become tokenized, and NFT marketplaces needs robust financial reporting, performance analysis, and the peace of mind that they are compliance ready. GILDED's NFT Ops is a one-stop financial reporting solution for growing NFT platforms. GILDED has developed marketplace-specific modules to track the financial performance of NFT creators, including revenue tracking, collection metrics, royalty payments, and revenue share. Customers of NFT Ops gain full access to accounting tools and powerful APIs for custom integrations that simplify operations, streamline reporting, and produce tax-ready data. So no wonder why so many top brands like CoinMarketCap, Gitcoin, Nifty's, and POAP trust GILDED to automate complex reporting workflows. Visit gilded.finance/bankless to learn more.
All right, Zeneca, how you doing, man?
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Too much going on. I can't keep up. I'm drowning. Like, I'm going on vacation tomorrow. So like, I'm just throwing up my hands in the air, being like, that's it. I did my best up until this time. Now I'm going to come back. It's going to be a whole new world in a few weeks.
I totally relate. You and I were joking. So, and we should actually give this caveat as we record this. This episode will be coming out Friday, the 22nd. However, we are recording this on Tuesday, April 19th. So usually we record these Thursday mornings and they come out Friday mornings. So it's like a 24-hour lag. This is like more like a 72-hour lag. And in this space, that means anything could happen. So we apologize in advance if by the time you hear this, some of what we discuss is outdated or doesn't include the latest information. But Zeneca is going away. I'm going to the Amazon. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit because I'm going with an NFT project. So we are doing what we can. Making do with what we can. Okay. Do we want to do I'd love to hear the macro updates from your perspective. And I think we very quickly get ourselves into Moonbirds and the aftermath of that sale. But any kind of macro updates you want to touch on or what's happening big picture?
I mean, the macro update is Moonbirds. It's done. It did more volume in, I think 48 hours than the next 25 projects did over the previous 7 days. It's just ludicrous. It's done more volume lifetime than CyberKongz. It's done more volume lifetime than I'm actually going to pull it up right now and see what other project. I think World of Women. It's done more it's so crazy. It's done more volume than Cryptodes and Parallel, Loot. It's coming up on RARIBLE. It's just so crazy. Like
it's done more lifetime value in 48 hours than RARIBLE the marketplace period.
RARIBLE on OpenSea, I think it is. It's not quite that same, but still, that's still crazy. It's like getting close to Doodles and Cool Cats. It's been crazy. It is the macro update. It's this all anyone can talk about for this week has basically been Moonbirds.
What is your takeaway? What are we learning about the market or the state of the market today by the fact that Moonbirds has done what it's done?
I think it's a shift. It's definitely a turning point to some extent. Like we'll look back upon this and be like almost pre-Moonbirds and post-Moonbirds, or because we have never seen a project. It's really unprecedented the level of success it's had. even Mutants, when they were dropped, like with the backing of Bored Ape Yacht Club and all that, they did less volume than this. So I think it's a sign that the market is maturing in terms of the amount of money that is flowing around and can flow around. And I think that we saw a lot of like outside funding come in for Moonbirds specifically, like whether it's VC money or DAOs that maybe hadn't been very heavily involved in NFTs, or maybe they were into generative art NFTs, and this was the first PFP project that they really went heavy into. And I think a lot of that is I mean, most of it isn't just a credit to Kevin Rose, who's got this massive network, following, audience, podcast, where he reaches just a very diverse group of people, including lots of people who might not have been interested in NFTs until they saw he was doing a project and are betting on him. So unprecedented.
I also think we're in this place in the market right now, and tell me if you agree with this, where there's almost a higher level of risk aversion than we've seen previously. I think scams, whether it's Pixelmons or whatever you want to point to, I think there's just been people who have lost money who people don't want to get into riskier projects, and this is like the safest project that has emerged in a long, long time, because people feel like they know Kevin Rose, because he obviously has an incredibly proven track record in business, period, but is also not just a business success, as somebody who spent the last year deep diving in this space publicly and forming that relationship. It just was like, this has felt safe. I think people are really 100%. Flocking to projects that influencers that they trust are endorsing, because I just think everyone's nervous. There's been enough scams, enough people have lost money.
Yeah, and there's just too many projects now, like just way too many for people to, even really good, legitimate projects are just, it's turning out they're not making it, or like their floor prices are crumbling, and maybe they'll turn it around, but maybe they won't, and people are a little bit panicked. And it's sort of like, I think when we did the last couple of macro updates, it was like, it's blue chip season, and that's where I think this is just an extension of that, where it's too early to call Moonbirds a blue chip. It's been out for less than a week, but it's certainly got a lot of the qualities that the blue chips have. And I think that, to your point, a lot of people felt that this is a really safe place to. But I thought that I don't know if I said it publicly or in my Discord or something, but I was like, I have never been more bullish on a project pre-launch than Moonbirds. And it still exceeded my expectations. Like I was thinking, to begin with, maybe the floor settled around 7, 8. Then closer to launch, I was getting more bullish. I was like, my most bull case was like a 12 ETH floor. Yeah. And we're sitting at 20 basically now.
I had said, I was like, if it hits 6 or even 6.5, I'll buy one, which of course it didn't do, unsurprisingly. Yeah. It was close. I think the lowest it got was around 7.5. I was eyeing it. I was tracking it so close on secondary that day because I didn't get on the allow list. And, of course, in hindsight, I should have just bought it 7.5. But that's too much money for me to put down all at once. I can't. Yeah. I can't do that. There's always the risk. Kevin Rose was hit by a car and it went to 0. Right. I can't play with what I can't afford to lose, kind of a thing. And
you never
that
know.
much money on one project is too much for me.
There's there's a lot of risk.
I also think
it's still really early. Yeah.
I think I think this also presented an opportunity for I think this presented other buying opportunities, because so much energy and liquidity was sucked up by Moonbirds. That liquidity came from somewhere. Some of it you suggested is new money, but it also came from other projects. So then you had other projects that are solid that were dropping or have just been sort of neglected because of this. And so when I was nursing my wounds over not being on the Moonbirds allow list, that was really what the bright side and the silver linings I tried to find was like, I publicly talked about, I bought a DeadFellaz, which is a project I've wanted to get into for quite a while, that had sort of been falling and kind of languishing just because they hadn't had new news lately. And this market operates only on needing like immediate news. And I was like, okay, great. Nothing's changed about these fundamentals, but it's dropped a bit and it's cheaper than I last looked. I have some extra ETH because I didn't get to spend it on Moonbirds. Like, why don't I go in on that? And then it popped today on the news that DeadFellaz is signed with UTA.
UTA, like an hour, like half an hour ago. It's still pumping now. Floor's at like 2.2, 2.3. It was at 1.7 before this news. And like you said, it's just like this market moves on news. I saw it, and I saw your tweet the other day, and I was like, I have no DeadFellaz. I was like, this is a hole in my portfolio. I need some. I looked at the market, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait a bit. Like I feel like it's probably gonna keep dropping until some news happens. And I was just fortunately online as this dropped, someone messaged in a Discord, and I saw it. I was like, all right, I'm just buying. So I got a couple.
You perfectly timed the market. I know. Well, I
got lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. I bought at like 1.8 and then saw it had dropped a little bit, but
yeah.
I was gonna say like that doesn't bother me, which is true because I am a long-term DeadFellaz holder. The only reason it bugged me, and this will get into a topic I think we'll talk about in a second, which is Akutars, which I spoke a lot about last week on the pod. I'm so jazzed about this project. I ended up not buying a mint pass, even though I was advocating on the podcast for people to buy one at 1.7 ETH. And then they, of course, pumped to like 3.5 ETH. So I was doing that second guessing myself of like, oh, was this the right time to buy a DeadFellaz? Should I have bought my Akutar pass instead? But in general, very happy to have my fella. And, I relatively timed it well, too, pretty shortly before this news, obviously not knowing at all that this was coming. Okay. Other takeaways. You mentioned World of Women and the fact that Moonbirds has done more volume now already than like World of Women Lifetime or whatever. And I've been seeing people talk about this. I don't know if you've seen this. Like the World of Women floor is, I think, down to like 6 point something ETH. It's really dropped. And some people are kind of making the gender point about it, like female project. I don't know. But I'm curious if you have thoughts on, is World of Women undervalued? What do you think on that?
I don't know. It's certainly dropped a bunch since the Galaxy drop. When it was sort of, maybe that was like peak hype and peak attention and stuff. And that's natural. Like this space moves on hype cycles and it's an attention economy. So when people naturally move from this to the next hot thing, they were like, where do we get liquidity from? Maybe for the Moonbirds raffle, World of Women is going to be one of those places. Yep. But it was sort of like dropping a little bit before that even. I don't have a strong view on World of Women. I haven't been like following it too closely. I mean, I'll just say that I never. I don't know. I think that there are projects that are doing more that have a lower floor price, I guess. But
would you consider World of Women blue chip?
No, not personally. I think it hits a lot of those right metrics, and probably most people would. And I think in the past I might have almost said that they were blue chip or that they were almost blue chip, and I think they're still in that almost blue chip category. And it's interesting, the definition of blue chip is sort of evolving a bit over time. Like Cool Cats, I would have always said was like, for a long time I was like, that's a blue chip NFT project. Now it's like they've had some like sketchy few months, and then we've had new projects arise, and just Azuki now I think is a blue chip. Moonbirds is almost a blue chip in my mind already. Yeah, it's
I think here's a trading strategy to take, is like these projects that were blue, that you would have said at one point were blue chip, that you think have fallen off blue chip status, I almost think are potentially the best buying opportunities right now. Because to the point you made last week of, or a couple weeks ago, like number one rule of NFTs is never sell your NFTs. Like Pudgy Penguins has come back. If Pudgy Penguins can come back, goddamn can Cool Cats come back from just like some delayed dev work, you know? And I actually do think that that's when you can find discounts on some of these products. Like if you've ever once had blue chip status, it means you have, or you could have been considered having blue chip status. You have a community of people really vested in your success. And so there are going to be pumps again, you know?
I think you're absolutely right.
Now, as a long-term hold, I don't know, but I would be very surprised if Cool Cats or World of Women didn't go up from here at some point. Like it just feels like you have a no-brainer opportunity to at some point sell out higher than they currently are listed.
I fully agree. The issue always is opportunity cost and juggling liquidity, because it's like if you buy a World of Women or Cool Cats, maybe you're not buying you could put them together by a Doodles or an Akutar, which we're going to get into and you're going to tell me about, because I've been hearing about it more and more. I still have very little idea of what it is.
I'm so pumped for this. I feel bad. I apologize to anybody who heard me rant about Akutars last week and now is going to listen to it again, but there'll be some new information to this time around, because we've had some updates even since last week. Other thing I wanted to get that I know not as much about, that I want to get your thoughts on if you have them, is this potential Yuga Labs land drop announcement. You have some projects pumping on that news. Want to tell us what's going on there?
Yeah, so in the leaked deck that almost everyone has seen, Yuga spoke about how they want to drop, they're doing this meta RPG and they're going to drop land, I think 200,000 plots in 2 different trenches, 100k first and then 100k later. They were saying 30k will be dropped or free claim for apes and mutants, and then the 70k will be a public sale. I've heard different rumors lately, whereas like maybe apes will get 2 and mutants will get 1, so it'll be like 40k. But who really knows? It's yeah. But they said April, like they're like that's happening in April. So a lot of people are like, well, it's April. It's getting closer to the end of April. It's gonna come out. It's like the 1 year anniversary for Bored Apes are coming up. It's 420 tomorrow. Like that's a date that people love to meme about in this space. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation. There was part of that leaked deck, I think, said that mutants would get an extra special tile, like a slime, which has like a radioactive property, and people were like, well, that's probably valuable, so mutants pumped off the back of that. And then there was like a leak, and just, not a leak, it was just like a rumor, a speculation about how in that other side video, in that vehicle, there were like all these different characters, and someone was like, well, they will all get mint list allocations, like they'll be able to mint. So then, Cryptodes were the cheapest NFT in that sort of vehicle, so they pumped from like 1 or 2 ETH to like 4 now. Interestingly, I don't think the other projects pumped a lot. Cool Cats, World, maybe they did a little bit.
I think Meebit's maybe pumped a little. I've been getting some offers on Meebit.
Yeah, a lot of speculation. I don't know what's true and what's not. And I think that I don't know, it was Gaga or one of the founders came out and was like, all right, it's been leaked, but we're just gonna change it up and we're gonna do our own thing. So who really knows?
Do we have any idea? Obviously, the land is for a metaverse, but like, is the idea that they're supposed to be kind of UGC, like you can build on your land, or is the Yuga team going to build on the land? Do we have any insight into those dynamics? Because this is something I've been digging into a little bit, and would love to actually dig into more, and have been listening to some smart people talk about it. Which is like the success of a platform like Roblox, for example, has been, and now obviously it's centralized, but has been people getting to build their own worlds. And there's an unlimited amount of land in Roblox because anybody can come and then the best games and worlds can bubble to the surface, and that's the beauty of it. And when I think about a sandbox, when I think about their success is predicated not just on them, but on their communities building desirable things. And this maybe backwards thinking of selling land for the metaverse, like will the metaverse, and there won't just be one winner, but a metaverse that wins, what about unlimited land? And you just bubble up, you figure out a way to bubble up the best land plots to maximum visibility. That based on what people are building.
I think we'll have both. I think those will exist and they'll flourish, but we'll also have it's almost similar to like the CC0 versus commercial property rights argument, where it's like we'll have these open metaverses where anyone can build whatever they want and some will rise to the top, but then we'll have these places that are like maybe it is Yuga Labs, their meta RPG, where they release land and they have like an ecosystem. So there's a game involved and land interacts with one another, and they build infrastructure themselves. They devote a lot of money and resources to building out, things within that ecosystem. And then you think of it more like a World of Warcraft, where like the company creates the land, there's quests, there's games, there's experiences. It's all very narrative driven. And maybe you can build your own things on your plot of land and stuff like that. But I think I see it more of a meta RPG, as they say. It's like it's not a metaverse. It's a metaverse role playing game. Like there's a gaming element. So there's going to be something like that with their land. Yeah.
I think you'll see Axie Infinity do a hybrid model. Even within their own ecosystem, because they've done this land sale. I don't know if you track this. There was some drama with the Axie Infinity land recently, where Axie Infinity just rolled out Axie Infinity Origin, which is like their second game, and landholders, some of whom had purchased land like 3 years ago in Axie, like I've been holding this for a long time, were hoping that maybe the land would be incorporated in Axie Infinity Origin. It wasn't, and then there was just some, I think, fraught community emotions around land not being a bigger part of seemingly the Axie game plan right now. And I think Axie being in a little bit, this is totally speculative, I do not know, so please don't, but like a tough spot where they've sold land to people now but they maybe want some more UGC kind of a content.
Yeah.
But then, what do they do? And so I think you probably have a world where they build some games specifically on land that holders have, where you can access it only if you own the land, and then they have. Because they specifically said in some recent community update, like that they there was going to be some free land, and that was part of what got people really upset. Was like, are you kidding me? You haven't even done anything much with the land that I paid for, and you're now teasing that you're going to offer free land. So I think they may end up in sort of a hybrid situation, and you're right that we'll probably land there. Land, no pun intended.
Yeah, land.
Okay. I actually wanted to say one thing on Moonbirds. Did you see that I didn't touch on a second ago? Did you see Ryan Carson's status about they will automatically force unnest any birds that list while nested? Did you track this?
So, I saw that briefly, yeah.
Okay, so just for folks who didn't, Ryan Carson, obviously part of the Moonbirds team, tweeted out saying, we will automatically force, like, if you're nesting a bird, which is basically staking it, and you list it on OpenSea, for example, usually the way that works is if you've staked something and you list it, it can't actually be sold. What Ryan is saying, we will force it to basically be unnested so that it will be sold if you list it. And the community was like kind of freaking out about this, but I believe this is a direct reaction to something that's going on with an LEO Trades project called The Imposters. Have you been following this?
I haven't, but I've heard about this from other projects, yeah. Okay.
Do you want to explain what can happen, or?
Yeah, so I think basically the reason the community was, from what I saw from the tweet, there was backlash is because the way he phrased it, I think, was not ideal. He sort of said it in a way that if you list below floor, a bot will buy it up, and like, your NFT will get unstaked or unnested, and a bot is going to come and buy it. Someone's going to buy it. So and people were like, well, are they trying to manipulate the floor and say that? What he was trying to say, I believe, is that it's a solution to a problem that some people would stake an NFT or nest an NFT and then go and list well below floor to artificially manipulate the floor price. So people say, hey, the floor, while in the real floor might be 12 ETH, they list something for 4 ETH. And then someone else comes along, they can't buy your NFT. So it's just stuck there. It's listed at 4, but it's like a fake floor. And then maybe people start listing, undercutting that. Maybe they think 4 is the real floor. And then this person who listed it, they go and buy the things that, is below the real floor. And the automatic unnesting means that people can't do this, but which I think is a great thing, and manipulate the floor that way. But people, I think, read it to believe that they're saying, well, if you list below floor, it's automatically going to sell. That's not correct.
Yeah. I wanted to clear that up because I was getting people pinging me or being like, what the heck is this? And people who clearly didn't understand that this comes from, I think, a very reasonable place where you don't have nefarious folks trying to force people to panic sell way too low. Now, maybe by Friday when this airs, this will have been largely cleared up and everyone will understand this. But I wanted to just flag it and explain what was going on there because I do think there's a lot of confusion about that. As a non-Moonbirds holder, I'm, just...
You're very invested.
I want people to make sure they understand things properly. It's also just good for people to understand that can happen because you may be in another project where that goes on as more and more projects include staking in what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to do Akutars next, or we also want to talk about Nemus?
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Again, apologies, folks, if you listened to last week. You heard me talk about Akutars already. I found out Zeneca is like not fully up on this project. Is that fair to say, Zeneca?
It's I don't think I'd even heard of it until you mentioned it yesterday, and then today I've heard it mentioned in a couple of spaces, and I'm picking up on it. What is Akutar?
Okay, so I'm going to explain it, and then I'll tell folks who listened last week. We'll give you the latest updates. This is a project, and I honestly, it makes me so bullish that you hadn't heard of it because my hypothesis last week was that it just for some reason hadn't cut through to a lot of people in the NFT space, which is funny because it's actually gotten mainstream press pickup because the person behind it is Micah Johnson, who's a former MLB player. So it was like the mainstream press would pick it up. But I think almost maybe because of that, it wasn't able to break through because we're so allergic to like celebrities in the mainstream in this space. Okay, so Micah Johnson's former MLB player, 2018, I believe it was. I'm going to give you too much information here. He gets injured, leaves the MLB, and I'm imagining had always been artistic, but really doubles down on himself as an artist around 2018. Some point after, I think in 2019, he discovers NFTs, gets really sucked into that world. And at some point in all of this, his nephew, so Micah's black, his nephew is black too, I'm assuming. His nephew said, "Are there black astronauts?" And this just hit him in this really like, oh my God, like my nephew doesn't realize that an astronaut can be black. He doesn't see enough role models like that.
Yeah. So
he creates this character called Aku, who is this little black boy with a big space helmet on. And he went on to do 10, what he calls chapter drops. So he did 10 drops on Nifty Gateway with this character Aku, ranging, I think the lowest drop, there were like 700 or 800. And then on the higher end, there were like 2,000 per. So I think you have about 13,000 or so NFTs out there total from these 10 drops. And the drops themselves are animated and scored, and he's worked with some really cool artists. I won't be able to get it right now to score these animations. I happen to love them. I think they're really well done. They make me feel something, and all connected to the story of Aku. Here's something else that's fascinating about this project. He was the first person. This was one of the first. It got optioned by Anonymous Content, which is like a pretty big studio, like Hollywood studio. Shawn Mendes apparently has a production company that was looking at trying to option this to make content out of it. He's partnered with Puma. I know he's talking to Epic Games. Like he has all the connections. He was Visa's, he's in the Visa creator program. I think he was their first like Visa creator. Which again, all of that could in some ways almost be red flags sometimes. But he feels so genuine and like honestly loves this space. The story is there. The work product that I see, I think is awesome. So what's happening now is this week he's dropping Akutars, which are are a 3D avatar version of this Aku character. And it's designed in Unreal Engine. So it's designed to be like game playable and is supposed to be feeding into, again, I don't know for sure exactly where things stand with Epic Games, but my understanding is like far along, like they're looking to incorporate this character into Epic Games things.
Wow.
And so to me, it's that perfect combination of like cool art, well executed, awesome story. I mean, at one point, I think it was like 2% of total supply was listed. Like it was tiny, like everyone was diamond handing it. So people are really passionate about this project who have bought in. And, now Akutars is starting to get some traction. There's this mint pass you can buy, which is sort of a misnomer because it actually you'll just get an airdrop. The snapshot's being taken on Thursday. If you own a mint pass, snapshot's taken, you get airdropped one of these characters. The update that has changed since last week, thank you for letting me go on and on about this, is they've announced it'll be a Dutch auction for the public sale. There's going to be 15,000 Akutars. Some number of them go to the holders. I think there's about 5,000 that they expect to go to on the public sale. It'll be a Dutch auction. Starting price has not been announced as of yet, but the price will drop by 0.1 ETH, I believe they said. Let me pull this up. 0.1 ETH in some time interval. And this is something that's very interesting. You'll appreciate this because we've talked about this. They're doing a Dutch auction where the lowest price will ultimately be the price everyone pays. So if you bid and you buy it higher, you will get discounted to the lowest purchaser price.
That's great.
Which is awesome. And like the first project that I've seen actually do that, it's been the theory, we've talked about it a number of times as being a cool way to do something. So that's my spiel on Akutars. Last thing, this was just announced too, there will be a half an ETH discount applied to anybody who's a Mint Pass holder who buys in the public sale. So you'll also get discounted. You'll also get discounted if you buy in secondary as a pass holder. So that's good news for the pass holders.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I'm bullish. So they've got the Mint Passes that you can buy. Are the comics also for sale?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you asked this. So here's the funny thing. And it feels to me like this should be a no-brainer opportunity. Micah has been very clear that his chapter holders, the people who own these first 10 collections, are like, they're his Genesis holders. They'll be rewarded the most over the life cycle of this ecosystem. They are currently, and I haven't checked the latest prices. There was somebody who bought up a bunch of floor ones at one point this past week. So maybe they're up a bit, but we're trading at such a premium, like much cheaper than these Akutar Mint Passes, which felt like the supplies, if anything, the supply of the chapters is lower. And they're in the long-term life cycle. If you're long-term bullish on this project, they're going to be rewarded more. So that to me is the obvious opportunity. Everyone's focused on these mint passes right now because it's the immediate thing. And I think the 3D avatar thing computes for people more than these like little animations like they recognize. But thinking about it logically, the real like value is in getting these chapters. You can get them both on Nifty Gateway or on, like an OpenSea. It's a little confusing. I think this is also why this is it's missed the radar is you have to find each chapter collection separately and they trade at different values because there's different supplies on them. Like it's a little bit confusing to really get in, but I would definitely, I bought 3 chapters. I bought chapter 5, 8 and 10. And
I'm looking at 10. How much did you pay for 10?
I paid 0.41.
It's 1.3 now.
Are you serious?
Yep. On OpenSea at least. I don't know about Nifty Gateway. Yeah.
Okay, I should have scooped up even more. I mean, I knew it. I had such conviction at the time, but infinite regret. Seneca's favorite phrase.
Infinite regret.
Should have bought more.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not trading at as much of a premium anymore. Again, it's still long-term life cycle of this, but
yeah.
What I would be curious, Seneca, is, I've obviously just given you a whole word vomit of everything I feel about this project. I'd be curious as you maybe go in and dive a little bit, like your reaction, which obviously does not have to match mine. You do not have to love this project the way I do.
No,
obviously.
I do. I'm literally thinking about buying right now. Like,
okay.
I'm looking at them.
Excellent.
I mean, I want to get a mint pass because that seems to make the most sense. So there's different types of mint passes as well. Like there's
rarer and less rare mint passes. I will be honest, I have not fully dove into this. Some mint passes, it basically different mint passes guarantee you different, you can know in advance you're going to get a more or less rare Akutar airdropped to you. There's
OG, Mega OG, and just random.
Yeah. And me being the floor creature that I have historically always been, just like, doesn't pay as much attention to that stuff because I'm like, well, I probably can't afford the higher end one. But
it sounds amazing.
I'm glad this project's starting to pop through. I still think it hasn't fully popped through for people, so I still think there's opportunity. And I think eventually it will. I mean, who knows? But that's obviously where my money is, quite literally.
Yeah. I love it. I'm gonna get some.
Cool. I probably will. I might as well after this. I can't believe that those chapter 10s are already up to 1.4.
RARIBLE is the NFT platform that's leading the charge into the multi-chain universe ahead of us. Available on Flow, Tezos, Polygon, and of course Ethereum, RARIBLE is the perfect place for NFT newcomers, profile picture collectors, and experienced NFT traders. RARIBLE has a variety of NFT features that set it apart from other NFT marketplaces. They have a native messaging function allowing you to DM your friends or haggle with sellers. They also have a mobile app on iOS and Android with a built-in NFT portfolio tracker tool so you can easily check the value of your digital art portfolio. RARIBLE is built on the RARIBLE protocol, a multi-purpose, open source, and community-governed NFT protocol that helps build products and services across the NFT ecosystem, including white label marketplaces tailored to specific NFT communities. So go to rarible.com and start discovering and trading NFTs, putting in floor bids to join PFP communities, and DM with some brand new internet friends. If you're starting on your NFT journey, you need MetaMask. This is your tool to unlock the world of DeFi and NFTs without giving up custody over your private keys. MetaMask is both a secure in-browser wallet and also a secure bridge for your hardware wallet so that you can connect to any Web3 enabled website. You can now trade tokens with any DEX or aggregator. MetaMask Swap gathers real-time pricing information across the DeFi exchange ecosystem, allowing you to select your best price while getting all of the MetaMask benefits of self-custody, lower gas costs, and increased transaction success rates. MetaMask also has a fantastic mobile wallet, which I use while I'm out and about. And I use it to collect POAPs, NFTs, and use it for all my DeFi things while I'm away from home. If you haven't downloaded MetaMask, you gotta try it out. Download MetaMask for desktop and mobile at metamask.io, or load up your Ledger, Trezor, Keystone, or Lattice hardware wallets so that they too can get into Web3.
All right. Nemus. Do we want to do Nemus?
Nemus. Yeah, let's talk about Nemus.
Let's do this. Okay, I'll give quick context and then I want you to do the talking here. So Y'all may or may not have heard of the project Nemus. Probably not. I still think it hasn't also broken through to the mainstream. Call it. The reason we're bringing it up now is I am heading to Brazil tomorrow. More specifically, I'm heading to the Amazon, and I'm going with the Nemus team because they are a group of Brazilian Americans, many of them, and their project is very connected to the rainforest. I'll let Zeneca talk more about it, but we are going to be shooting really a documentary. We're working with an amazing Brazilian filmmaker, and we're going to try and create a really beautiful piece of work about what's happening in the Amazon right now in this particular area and how this ties into Nemus and their project. So with that, why don't you talk about Nemus a little bit?
Amazing. That's exciting. That's really, really exciting. Nemus is a project that I love. I found out about it months ago, I think. I think it was late last year. And it is, to me, everything an NFT project should be. It has all the perfect ingredients for... So what they're trying to do is they're trying to save the Amazon rainforest and use NFTs to empower that. And they're approaching it in a really thoughtful, conscientious manner where they say you can buy an NFT, which is basically a plot of land on a map that like maps to a certain area of the Amazon. They have already bought land in the Amazon. They've bought it. Like before they launched the project, they fundraised, they got money.
41,000 hectares of land in the Brazilian Amazon.
A lot. And then they were just like, all right, so we're going to take part of that, chop it up into these blocks and map it and sell these plots of land. You don't actually own the plot of land, but you have like, NFT ownership over it. Like, there's interesting mechanics at play where like just various things they can do is if you own a plot of land, maybe they put up a camera on different plots and you can just watch your plot of land in the Amazon. Maybe they generate revenue from the Amazon, and if you own a plot of land where they're farming Brazil nuts or something, maybe you get some of that revenue. Or it's really fascinating. The artwork is amazing. There's game elements, there's a DAO involved, and they're trying to create this whole ecosystem that is absurdly well thought out. I can't do it justice. You really need to go look at their website, look at who's on their team, look at how much depth there is to the project, join their Discord. I did a YouTube video with Charlie.
I was going to say, go check out your YouTube video with Charlie.
Yep. It was the first... My entire YouTube channel came about because I was chatting with Charlie about Nemus, and the first time we ever spoke. And it was meant to be, I think, a 20 or 30 minute call. And after like an hour, we were still chatting. I was just fascinated. Like he was just talking. I was like, this is amazing. Tell me more. And I was like, well, this would be a great YouTube video. It's just like this long form conversation. Like I'm fascinated. I think a lot more people would be as well. Let's share this. And then so the very first video I did was just a rehashing of that first conversation. And it's just amazing. I could rave. And it hasn't sold out. Like people are just not... It's not a hype project. Yeah.
And I think maybe you just mentioned this in your litany of why it's awesome. The art's stunning. Like I think the art,
so good.
The art rivals art NFT projects, and it's just like a secondary feature of this one. Like this is so much more than just an art project, and yet I think the art is absolutely gorgeous. So definitely would encourage folks to go check it out. The other thing I just want to emphasize, and we'll be exploring this in the documentary, and hopefully that becomes a really good way for people to really understand this better by seeing it in action. The CEO, right, the founder of this project is a man named Flavio. He's Brazilian American. His kid's Brazilian American. They all speak Portuguese. They really split their time in many ways now between Brazil and the US. And they spend a lot of time with the local communities that are either on or abut the kind of property they now own in the Amazon. And their like number one goal is to make sure that those folks are included, that they are a part of this, like that they're doing what they want. And they've basically, every trip they've taken so far to Pauini, which is this particular city right by their land, has been like a listening tour where they go around to all these different communities that live nearby and say, what do you need? Like, what are you facing? Like, what do you want? So that this isn't something that they're like imposing, the very colonialist idea of like, hey, we're from the US and we think you should have this, right? And not being a very backwards way. We've just seen that fail over and over again in human history to like terrible results. And so they're really conscious of that. And they're my understanding is very welcomed by these communities because they've approached it so well. And, again, they speak Portuguese. They speak to everyone locally. And so I want to capture that. But I also want to talk to the local community and see if I can get sort of honest answers from them, hopefully, around how they feel about everything that's going on, and that being a huge part of the story. But, crypto being this global connector of infrastructure, I think is that's what's playing out here in this really cool way, where it's just connecting. They really want this to be a connective tissue between people whose passion is to protect our environment and the rainforest specifically, which is amazing.
So amazing. How long are you going for?
So I'll be in in the Amazon for 5 days. It takes 3 days to get there and back though. So I'm gone for 10 days.
That's insane.
But I'm only in the rainforest itself for 4 or 5 days. They're staying a 5th day. I think I might be leaving a day early for a couple of reasons, but I'm both excited and nervous. I'm not the most rustic of people, so camping in the jungle is not typically my thing, either. But was an opportunity I couldn't turn down.
Yeah. I hope to visit one day as well. I think it would just be such a phenomenal experience.
I will definitely, I shouldn't say definitely, but they're still at the very beginning of this whole journey. So I would be very surprised if we didn't, in a couple years' time, do a follow-up to see, this is sort of the piece laying out the dream. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a follow-up companion piece that's how did it actually play out? Did it work? Yeah. and
where you at? Yeah.
Yeah. And so you'll have to come for that one.
Done deal.
Love it.
Yeah. They have really ambitious we're going to start with the Amazon, but we want to change the world in we want other projects to take our model of, And
they have a whole theory about if you can do I won't do this justice, but if you can do this properly with about 10% of the rainforest, you can actually protect the remaining 100%. And they have a whole theory as to how that works. So I think the goal is to get a strategic 10% of the rainforest involved in these kinds of programming. This and then it becomes almost a barrier that protects from encroachment, the remaining 90%. They're really sharp and impressive people.
Yeah.
Okay. Also on our agenda today, we had somebody really request that we talk about alien friends. You and I, neither you or I are super read into this project. I've tracked it loosely. I dove a bit more deeply into it yesterday. So I'm going to give you the options of the next topics and you're going to pick what we want to do. Alien Friends. Okay. There's some Cool Cats updates, which might be worth diving into. You mentioned Cool Cats earlier. The latest in VeeFriends Series 2. I think that update's quick. Some OpenSea stuff. Launching credit card payment options, big deal. Solana NFTs on OpenSea. So of those 4, what would you like to dive into next?
Let's do VeeFriends and let's do the alien one, but I'm gonna be useless. I'll be the joke for that. Yeah. Okay.
Do you then want to give VeeFriends Series 2 updates, or I'm usually our VeeFriends expert in house, but
you are. I minted mine today, so that's something.
I'm gonna mint mine probably after this call or tonight, depending on my timing. If I have meetings right after this, they're not revealed yet, correct?
I don't know. I've minted. I haven't checked.
Okay. I think he said they weren't going to be revealed until after public sale, which is a bummer because I will be in the Amazon and not tracking these things. Yep. And so I won't be able to degen fully in terms of doing some trading right after reveal. But oh well. Yep. It's the beauty of buying projects that you're long-term bullish on. I don't really care if I don't capture the one moment. Okay. Yeah. And I'll say there were delays there. I mean, this was supposed to start minting a week ago. I don't know. It feels like it's pushed back a lot. Yeah. There was consistent, which is, this was true for VeeFriends Series 1. Gary Vee pushed back mint on VeeFriends Series 1 by several days. Mm-hmm. They struggle a little bit with deadlines over there, but he always delivers, so it does not worry me in the least.
Yeah.
He wants to get it perfect. Okay, speaking of delays, what you wanted to do Alien Friends, not Cool Cats, right?
Either or.
I was going to say, speaking of delays, Cool Cats, I think that the game is supposed to have finally launched. Did you see this?
Yeah,
Cooltopia?
Yeah, people are playing it. People are playing it. People are enjoying it. There's quests. I think even after it launched, there was some tech issues and people were struggling. And the floor price, it spiked when they were finally launching it, and then it crashed after there were tech issues. It's sort of been coming back up now as they've been working through the issues. They haven't taken it down. It's not a delay. I guess enough people are enjoying it. I feel bad for them, honestly. The team. I know how hard they worked for so long. And it's I don't know why there's so many issues. I'm imagining that it's got some amount to do with Polygon. I know that the network has a lot of difficulties, but Yeah.
A game is also ambitious. I'm wondering, and I'm sure they are too, potentially in hindsight, if that was the right next move. I think it feels like maybe the idea there was like, we're this big project, we have to keep driving the space forward, and a game is what everyone promises. And if we can be cool cats and actually deliver on it, won't that be great? And maybe they underestimated the lift of what it takes to build a game, and it a little bit backfired. Would be my read.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Cool pets also have not hatched, and I ended up buying a cool pet because they were cheap, and I think things will pump again for cool cats someday.
I think so too.
And I'm like confused. I don't even know what to do with it, and I guess the answer is nothing. But I know I was supposed to be feeding it something, and I just I haven't been I feel like they've sort of dropped off the map a little bit.
Yeah, I think you can quest or get milk or something with it. I hear chatter, people doing stuff with their cool stuff.
All right. That's
quality of our analysis has really dropped over the months.
We started off real strong and passionate, and we're basically just mumblecore right now. Okay.
People doing stuff about cool stuff. Yeah.
I think it's indicative, though. I think the fact that you and I aren't super read into it, especially you who owns cats and has for a while, like the fact that we're not more read in itself, I think says what you need to know about what's happening to cool cats right now, which is there was this point where I felt like they were all the rage. They had released that trailer, and like everybody was just, it felt like they totally dominated the conversation. And then I think all the delays really hurt them.
Fatigued the market as well.
Yeah, I think that's the right way of putting it. People just got tired of waiting, and so the launch, I was surprised to be like, oh my God, it launched, and I hadn't even heard, I'd sort of had to seek it out. And so quite anticlimactic. Okay. Alien Friends, the one I think we've been avoiding.
Yeah, Alien Friends.
Okay.
It's an incubator or something.
Yes. Do you want to tell me what you know about Alien Friends?
Sure. Alien Friends is I believe a PFP project which has kind of cute art. No, it pumped a lot. I want to say January. Yep. Yeah, January is probably a big month for them. Like it was sort of this whole meta of cute PFP projects, and they were like top of the list. Like a lot of people are rocking them. There was a lot of hype around them, and they did really, really well. I haven't really tracked or followed them since then.
Okay, that's a great place to start. So I have always been a little bit, I'll admit, confused about the Alien Friends thing. As somebody who hadn't dived deep into the ecosystem, the art didn't happen to speak to me personally. I don't tend to be like an overly cutesy gal anyways in terms of what I respond to. And so I didn't really understand. Unsurprisingly, as you learn with all these, they obviously have a really awesome community, like seems to be lovely, kind, and they're obviously passionate about their alien friends. The other thing I learned, and this I think helps to explain part of the pump in January, though I'm sure there are other things, Alien Friends seems to have a connection to the Nelk brothers who do the Full Send podcast. Are you familiar with Full Send?
Only because they launched an NFT project as well, right?
They launched an NFT project that was pretty like resoundingly panned by like NFT OG NFT people that I respect, but it sold out and they made millions of dollars. They're very popular. They're bro-y. They sort of feel tangential to me to like the Logan Pauls of the world. They fall in that category of like bro-y for sure, with like a really big following of people. And they're very much in kind of the NFT universe of like YouTube influencers along the lines of Logan Paul. So I don't know how this came to be or what the details are, but they apparently are connected to the Alien Friends founders. And so it was announced that there would be like an IRL event, and that the Full Send people, there was some sort of NFT project that was connected to Full Send that Alien Friends would also get access to. So this is my takeaway, and somebody can come tell me and apologize if I'm wrong, but that seems to me to be the thing that explained why this got as big as it did. Again, having that influencer connection. Yeah. And again, genuinely a great community and seems like a talented team. So it's not to take anything away from that, but we know there's plenty of those out there that don't pump and don't hit the multi-ETH valuation. So this latest incarnation of what's going on, this is a part of the roadmap they released for this year. they have this, it's called the Alien Friends Evolution. It's a second drop. It's sort of pulling from all of the greatest hits with drops. They have something called the incubator. So you do get a totally separate NFT that's not actually connected to the existing NFTs you own, but it does have sort of a mutant look to it. Mm-hmm. You get this like potion thing that you can use to, you kind of use in your incubator. So it has that kind of mad scientist mutant feel to it. But you are getting a totally separate NFT. And I think that it's increasing the supply of the collection in total. Again, not unlike we see with all of these airdrops. And, and the community seems to be excited about it. Also on the roadmap, you have like a clothing drop coming. There's a music album coming, and they've actually partnered with somebody who I didn't know the name of, but apparently is a Grammy Award winner. And they're dropping UFOs later this year. So it's going to be like a vehicle companion for all of the alien friends. I don't know enough about the team to know if this really will all tie to some grander vision or ecosystem, or if they're a little bit like treading water, trying to do all the things that you're supposed to do, quote unquote. Yeah. But really solid community of people who love them. Yeah.
It sounds like they're doing some cool things. So yeah, I mean, there's so many projects doing cool things. It's really hard to know which ones are going to quote unquote make it and be around, I guess, in 3 to 5 years from now, aside from maybe a small handful of blue chips that most people agree will be around. But yeah, hopefully for their sake and the community's sake that they will. Yeah.
So I don't have your Twitter handle up in front of me. Is it that NFT guy? It might have been whoever it was that asked Seneca and I talked about this. I'm sorry that you might be disappointed.
Yes, I saw it as homework. I did not have the time to do the homework until now, so I apologize.
Yep. I will say the new art I like better than the old art. All of the art is cute, and I get that there are people who love it. Again, it was never quite my thing. You wanted us to talk about the new art. I think the new art's cool. So there's that. All right. Coming up on time here. So maybe I'll run through just like a couple big things and we can do one. This thread going around about somebody getting hacked through their iCloud account. I think this is more of a PSA than anything else. I'm assuming you saw this, Seneca. Do you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone. Yeah. MetaMask basically tweeted and said, if you use iCloud to back up, I think if MetaMask is backing up to iCloud, or I don't know exactly what it was, but they said, well, if someone gains access to your iCloud, it's possible that they can get access to your seed phrase, which is, through your MetaMask. So be very, very careful. And they had a list of steps on how to, get rid of these permissions and make sure that that's not happening. But yeah, just a PSA for sure.
So did you do it? Did you turn off your iCloud, your MetaMask?
I did. I turned it off completely. I just turned off iCloud for my phone. So I don't need it. Like, what do I need iCloud?
So I wanted the backup. So I went in, I followed their steps, and it was a little confusing because if you get to their final step, you actually have to wait a beat, in my experience, for all of my apps to populate. So I went through their steps, got to the final step, and was looking at a screen where I was like, what am I supposed to do now? So this is a word of the wise. I got to that step.
I couldn't see MetaMask, so I just turned it all off. Yeah.
Okay. If you can't see MetaMask, like just wait. You kind of have to give it like 30 seconds, and then all of your individual apps populate on that screen. You can scroll down, find MetaMask, and turn it off just for MetaMask. So that was the first thing I wanted to say to folks who maybe like me had seen this and were like, I don't want to turn off my whole iCloud, but God, I don't want somebody stealing my MetaMask either. And the way this scam seemed to have been played was they, the scammers were like trying to get access to the Apple ID password for the phone. So somebody was getting notifications saying like somebody's trying to log in. Then they called the person's phone with and made it appear like Apple. It was said like Apple Inc. They made the caller ID Apple Inc. somehow. So the person thought it was Apple, and then they said, hey, it's Apple. We're noticing some suspicious activity on your account, which checked out because they've been spamming it. We need we're sending a code to your phone right now to verify that you're the correct owner. Can you read us that code? And then that code was actually what they needed to be able to get into the phone.
Wow, that's scary. That's real sophisticated. Yeah.
So it's also like those codes that get texted to you. They say this on those text messages and they send it. Like, don't ever read it to anybody. There's no reason. Nobody's ever going to call you and ask you for that. Just don't do it. And so once they had access to the person's phone, they were able to get to his iCloud, and that was how they found the MetaMask data. And then it was like $625,000 that was stolen.
Wow. That's awful.
bad.
I will say, if you are going to have MetaMask on your phone, a general good rule is to not have it be your main wallet. Just set up a secondary wallet, just in case. I mean, even if someone, holds you up at gunpoint on the street and knows that you have a MetaMask on your phone, they can get access to everything. Whereas if you only have a couple ETH in there, well, not only a couple ETH, but like less than what you would normally have in your main wallet, it really limits the steel pipe attack vector. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that's smart. Okay, running through this quickly, I don't think we have to analyze it unless you have thoughts you want to. I just wanted to flag some new entrants to the NFT space that are big and said they're coming in. Starbucks. Apparently, I think it may have been a job posting thing. Starbucks mentioned they're getting into the NFT game. Star Trek is going to be coming out with NFTs. That feels big. Nice. Obviously, they're some of the biggest IP in the entire universe when it comes to like loyal fans who collect shit about
very
the project.
Exciting. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't heard much about either of them. Yeah.
Nor have I, but wanted to flag that it was happening. Tom Brady spent $500,000 on a Bored Ape, it looks like, and has now partnered with ESPN to launch a series of Polygon NFTs. It sounds like. So Tom has been in it. You didn't know? Did you not know who Tom Brady was? Were you?
No, I knew who Tom Brady was. I didn't know
Aaron Rodgers.
No, I knew Aaron Rodgers.
No.
It was someone with initials PM, Pat Malone,
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. There you go.
Patrick Mahomes. Oh, that's funny.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady has been in it because he's a partner on Autograph. So he's been in this now for a little bit and is partnered with ESPN, I guess, to help. They're getting into the space and they're launching on Polygon.
Interesting.
And that's that. Any other things we want to talk about?
I think that's about it. I'm going on a vacation tomorrow. You're going away. We're going to come back. It's going to be a whole new world. It's just going to be, who knows what NFTs are going to be around then. Like there'll be 3 new blue chips, maybe.
100%. I'm terrified. I'm like, and also because I'm going to quite literally be off the grid. Like I can't even indulge the addiction. There are going to be a lot of moments I can't even indulge the addiction if I want to. Because I'll be in areas.
That's a healthy thing. Yeah.
I think it's going to be very healthy for me.
Yeah.
Once I let go of the anxiety.
Yeah.
Once I get over the anxiety of not being connected.
Yeah.
And so, I love it. Zeneca, you're the best. Thank you so much for joining as always.
Thank you so much.
I will not have a recap episode next week, but I have a very special guest that I will be interviewing. So you will not go without a Friday episode next week, folks. And then the week after, you and I will be back here, Zeneca. So,
amazing.
We'll see what kind of new world we're living in then. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Overpriced JPEGs. If you liked this conversation, if you liked this episode, please go ahead and hit subscribe. It helps me out, it helps the show out, and it means you will get alerts and updates when we post new content. Thanks again.